Greetings, Varlets. This is Rosario, Interrogator and Attaché to Milady Inquisitor Marcom of the Order Hereticus, and welcome to another ranting session. So, I've got another hot topic for you today. But remember, before we get started, that these are just my opinions, nothing more. I haven't actually researched any of these sort of topics beforehand. These are just my thoughts on a lot of the lore or stories or even gameplay, if we ever get down to that, of Warhammer 40k. So, again, keep that in mind. Now, what is the topic for today, you ask? Now, the topic for today is, do you, as either a new or old fan, need to read the Horus Heresy? New or old fan, as far as Warhammer 40k is concerned anyway. So, I'll let you know a little secret. I've actually never read the Horus Heresy. I know, right? That sounds kind of taboo. Most people will drone on and on and on about the Horus Heresy. You'll find plenty of people making essays and videos and breakdowns of the Horus Heresy for all newcomers, which is a laudable thing to do. It's really fun to see all the people's take on the Horus Heresy. But I believe that the Horus Heresy is something akin to the Silmarillion. Now, what is a Silmarillion? The Silmarillion is actually a book created by J.R. Tolkien, all about the lore of his setting within Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So this gives you all this information about like all the kings and how the world was created and all these fun facts that kind of lead up to the events of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. But as a fan of these two books, you don't really need to read the Silmarillion in order to understand the story that's being presented to you in these books. It's fun to know and interesting to read, but they are not what is currently happening within SETI. Very similar to the Horus Heresy. We get all this backstory about the Emperor and what he did before he came to power, and about his son, the Primarchs, and how they were created, and how there was all this strife that led up to their split, and how that broke the card setting in two. But you really don't need to know all this information in order to enjoy the games and the stories set within the Warhammer 40k universe. All you really need to know are the basics. Humanity is currently ruled by a theocracy with the Emperor as its god. Humanity is in constant war with enemies both within and without. In other words, in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only war. So, besides that, what else do you need to know? Well, some of the other things you may need to know is that Space Marines are the poster boys of the setting, and they are humanity's elite fighting force. And also there's a bunch of alien races that are very reminiscent of races you'll find in many fantasy tales like Lord of the Rings, but with their own unique sci-fi spin. So we've got elves, we got dwarves, we got orcs, we got vampires, we got mummies, and even some sci-fi tropes like, say, for instance, killer bugs and mecha for those anime enthusiasts out there. So you really have plenty to read about and never really need to crack open a book that informs you about what the Emperor or his sons were up to before they became footnotes to the current conflict. Because that's really what they currently are, footnotes. Some of them have become major players in the current setting, like for instance Gilliman or the Mayan, but they're still very minor characters in the current setting. Most of the books you'll find as far as Warhammer 40k focus on the on-the-ground stuff. The Space Marines, the Orcs, the Necrons, and whatever they're up to. And most of these characters weren't involved in the Horus Heresy themselves. So you don't really need to know about what happened back then in order to enjoy the story that's being told now. So, but if there's anybody really out there who wants to know where to start specifically, I still wouldn't even recommend the Horus Heresy as your starter point. It's way too much information to take on in all at once. But if you'd like to know what I would recommend for you to read, then you'll have to stay tuned for my next rant. Always leave them wanting more. But yeah, I hope this topic was of interest to you. And again, if you like what you heard or would like to engage at all in this conversation, then please feel free to leave some comments down below. And yeah, just follow for more rants. Anyway, this has been Rosario Rivas, and I'm signing out from the grim dark future. Bye-bye, Varlets! If you like what you heard, then please feel free to drop it in the comments or hit me up on Instagram at Rosario Rivas Art. Or you can watch my live streams over on Twitch, which is also at Rosario Rivas Art.